Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to make one of these really pretty flowers with a little central contrasting colour in the middle. I've chosen two other slightly different shade of pink and a yellow instead of a purple for the centre of the one I'm going to show you. But these are so easy to make and they are very, very effective, as you can see. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, what we need to do is actually fold this in half, and we're going to glue along the very bottom edge so that that seals down. I'm going to do it in two sections because the glue tends to dry quite quickly. It's totally optional to have the colour in the centre, so if you want to leave that out for a different effect, you can as well. Okay, so we've got our long strip, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to take some scissors and we're going to cut into the smooth end, so not the end that's been glued together, but the folded over side. Okay, we're going to make some little cuts, and each cut will make one of these little petals. So the other thing to say is that you can actually play around with the width of the cut. So if you make a very narrow one, you'll have little narrow petals like this. If you make larger cuts, you get bigger petals. Okay, so I'm going to do quite small cuts. You're not going to cut all the way down, just to within sort of a tiny strip at the bottom, which is where you glued it anyway, so you don't want to go into that bit. You want to make your cuts about the same width each time. Almost there. You can also play around with if you have more felt, you can play around with a deeper fold so that you get longer petals too. Okay, so we've got the base for our flower. Now for the centre bit, I'm not going to fold this over, but I'm just going to make cuts. Very, very tiny cuts, narrow. So make a little fringe in that one. So the first thing we're going to do is just going to roll up and glue this little fringed piece. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue on the base, like that, and then roll it very, very carefully, quite tightly. So you're going to need to try not to stick your fingers. There we go. So you end up with this tiny little centerpiece that's going to be in the center of the flower. And now we're ready to actually glue it onto the pink. So we'll just pop a little blob of glue at the base there, and stick the yellow right at the beginning, like that. So you've got the little strips pointing in the same direction as the petals. And then we're going to roll, basically. So I like to do a couple of rolls and then glue quite tightly, then pop a little drop of glue just to stop you unraveling as you go. and we're trying to keep the base all sticking at the same height, so we're not sort of like getting higher and higher with this. We're not wrapping it further up like that. We're trying to keep it level at the bottom. So do another couple of turns. It does get easier as it gets bigger because you can pick it up and use your fingers to support it. Almost there. And then we'll do this last bit, we'll glue that whole edge down. There we go. And then you can fan out your petals. You've got your little centre bit in the middle there. And that's done. Really pretty, aren't they?